And welcome to a Thursday edition of the Buddy Martin Show. It used to be called the Orange and Blue Bloods, just a plain old Buddy Martin Show. Good show for you tonight, though, because we got a kind of a mixture. Number one, we're going to be visiting with our good friend Drew Ditty down in Ocala about a big event they got coming up with Todd Golden, and expect a nice crowd to turn out there. Secondly, we have our expert Franz Beard with an announcement about his upcoming book. It's Thursday night. That means Ben Troupe, number 84 Reasons, will be here to entertain you as he always does and preach a Ben Troupe sermon. And then Coach Loren Meadows will join us for a little X and O's talk. All good stuff tonight right here on the program. Stay tuned. And go tell your friends and neighbors, by the way, that the Buddy Martin Show is now on the air officially. Come join us. Love to have you.
Yes, it's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Evening and welcome to the Buddy Martin Show live tonight from the Panhandle office here in beautiful Panama City. And we're going to go live to Ocala and talk to Drew Ditty in just a moment. And then we got some football talk for you. It's going to be a good night. It's always a good night this time of year. Lots of things to talk about. I'm kind of excited about this. I know some of you probably not as much as I am, but this is a good story, which makes me feel really good about Todd Golden, a guy that has shown his true colors. Thankfully, people like Drew Ditty, who helped bring it about, and others on his team. I'll say good evening to my good friend Drew Ditty from Ocala. What's up, Drew?
How you doing, buddy? Good to be with you.
Good to be with you, my friend. It's been a while.
It's been a long time.
It has been. Drew and I go back a long way. When he was up and coming radio guy, and then he went off and got rich in the insurance business. But anyway, smart dude. So good to see you again. And I just want to tell our friends and neighbors, I want to warn you that this is kind of inside baseball for us a little bit, but it's important because it speaks to the character, the person that you got coaching the Florida basketball team. I mean, there's a lot of people who like Todd Golden, and of course they admire him, and now especially after the national championship. But this transcends all that, and it also brings into play some very, very deep roots for me and for you, people that help make the basketball program important in our lives. And not the least was about a dear friend, late friend, Augie Griner. But I'm going to let you tell the story, Drew. Now, Drew's the head of the Ocala Gator. I think it's still called the Tipoff Club. I'm not sure.
You got it.
Club. At one time, it was called the Ocala Gator Augie Griner Tipoff Club. But now, of course, all youth pass. And then this is a club in Ocala. They do some good. They give money to scholarships every year, and they've been supportive of the basketball program in the good times and the bad. And they're a very loyal group of people. The problem is sometimes people in charge don't understand the roots and don't understand the long-term loyalty. There's a feeling in this world today that values like long-time support and backing of a program and a team don't count for anything. Well, we found out the contrary, didn't we, Drew?
Yeah, we did, buddy. And once again, thanks for having me on tonight. Just to talk about, as you and I were just kind of chewing the fat, so to speak, the other day, and we were talking a little bit of college basketball and the upcoming event we have with the Ocala Gator Tipoff Club with Coach Golden. Will be visiting with us at Golden Ocala on August the 27th from 5:30 to 7:30, and you can people I'm sure you're going to tell them how to get tickets later on. But
I am. Yes, I'm
but,
going to tell them.
but Coach Golden is a really unique individual in the fact that, he's a very young guy, but I kind of look at it like he's kind of got an old soul, if you know what I'm saying. I was meeting with Coach Golden, and I say me, several of us 2 years ago went up and met with him, and to talk to him about the Tipoff Club and the tradition, and we spoke to him about Augie Griner starting the club long before I was around, and how I joined the club after I got out of college, and just kind of really got to sit back and marvel at Augie and the way he handled Billy Donovan and the friendship they created and the banter and just all the tradition and Mike McGinnis was at that meeting, long time Gator alum and played basketball for the university, and you could just kind of tell when we were having that meeting that it really meant something to Coach Golden, and he really relished in that tradition, which look, buddy, I don't have to tell you, if anybody knows, how busy these guys are today. It's not like 30, 40 years ago when a coach could go in and have a day off on a Sunday afternoon. These guys now they're recruiting their existing team, right? Because people are coming in to make them offers with money. And so, this past year, this summer, I went up a couple months ago and talked to Coach Golden about this year's Tipoff Club. And, typically we'll have 4 meetings, and the head coach typically will come to the first one and kind of get him done. And, and I kind of felt bad in a way, and I just said, hey, Todd, I said, look, you're a guy, you got 2 young kids, wife at home. I know you're busy 24/7 nonstop. I just want you to know that, like, if this is too much, I get it in today's world. These guys don't have 30 seconds of free time. And he just looked at me and said, no, absolutely. I absolutely want to do it. And he said, as long as you're okay with the way we did it last year, that's great with me. And, I thought that spoke volumes of, here we are, we're just a tip-off club in Ocala, Florida, right? We're not the Orlando tip-off club. We're not, the Tampa or, a major market. And he absolutely remembered all the details of the people who came before us and the tradition we have. And with Coach Donovan, Coach Sloan, going back, when I was still in high school. So, I looked at that and I just, it kind of touched my heart, to be honest with you. And I said, hey, you know what? We've got ourselves a high character ball coach, and he gets it. And so I can see why guys want to come play with him and why they stay there, so yeah. It was a good story.
Please tell me you're rocking, because I'm getting seasick watching your picture roll back and forth there. Are you moving your chair?
No, okay. Not anymore.
Okay. I thought, am I going crazy here? I'm getting seasick. Well, long story short, we know we love the way coaches and recruits had a bump in the road about something last year legally that turned out to be nothing, or at least not what they charged it was anyway. I don't know the story. And he had this enormous season, not just a good season, it was a great season, and one for the ages. And you want so badly for him to do good. Now he's coming through in flying colors doing something like this, because as you know how much I love Augie Griner. And he gave his sweat and blood, and he cared about basketball when nobody cared about basketball.
That's right.
And he's not just a front. And all those years, he's been gone 10 years. He organized this Tipoff Club, and now to keep it going and in his honor. And I want to salute you, number one. And I also want to, you mentioned Mike McGinnis, who's the head of the Ocala Quarterback Club. Great job. Right. Played basketball at Florida. He just loves the program. Then I want to throw in there a couple of the other names I think that are important. Randy Briggs, well, I know has been corresponding with Coach a little bit, because he wanted to make sure he was flying the Augie flag as well.
Sure.
And then Bill Koss from Gainesville, who I'm told spoke volumes.
No doubt.
To Billy, Coach about the Ocala Gator Club. He's from Gainesville.
everybody that you just mentioned has played a major role in making sure that this club is still alive. Everybody you just mentioned, and I don't want to say too much, but at our meeting, we're gonna make sure that everybody remembers how this club came about.
That's great. I mean, you and I were talking, and I hate to over dramatize it. We were almost in tears talking about it because we were so happy that this moment came about. And because of people like you and Randy particularly, who fought and scratched and clawed to make sure, hey, don't forget the people here who stood by you back when, long before you were here. So it was great. So in the remaining minutes, I'm going to bring Franz on just for a second here. I'm going to put the address down here on the lower left-hand side. If you think you might want to go next Wednesday night to the
5:30 to 7:30.
5:30 to 7:30 at the Golden Ocala Equestrian Center, whatever you call it now, Golf and Equestrian Center, and go and participate here and hear Coach Golden talk, have a few hors d'oeuvres, and hang out with some brothers and sisters. Then this is the email address you can write and ask about how you get signed up. Right? Just write this email address and tell them you want to know that any tickets available. They're $50 a piece. It's not a dinner. It's a figure food. And Coach is going to be there and meet and greet, I guess, whatever he does.
Yep, and he'll give us kind of a state of the union, kind of tell us where we're at. We got some new players on the roster, which is very common today.
Yeah.
Got some transfers, some exciting players, and Coach will tell us about that. And, we'll get to ask him questions and kind of, there's no media at this event. And, it's kind of an off-the-record type of deal.
This guy will be there, but he ain't allowed to write about it. So,
how you doing, Franz?
Good to see you guys.
Yes, sir.
I'm excited. Just thinking about basketball gets me excited.
Sure.
I just wanted to bring him up for a second. I know you only got a minute, Drew, to say that Franz's book, The Golden Season, is about 90% done, written, ready to go to the publisher. There'll be copies available soon. We hope maybe when Coach Golden comes back in mid-October there, we'll be there either to have books or take orders.
Yeah.
At a discounted rate for people in the club.
Yeah, we'd love to have both of you all there if it's possible.
We're gonna be there. We're gonna be there, and we're just excited about it, and also the other things during the season. So, Drew, congratulations on a terrific job of keeping the flames burning. The old guys just need a crumb every now and then. That's just a crumb.
Hey, listen, I got a lot of gray hair now, buddy. It's not the brown that you remember.
Well, you were an old soul too, I will say.
Well, and I'll just say that it's all the people you mentioned, and David DeSantis, Steve Lee. I've got a lot of help, and I can't do it by myself. And without all of their help, Mike and Randy and everybody who's been involved, Bill Koss, you just can't do this by yourself. And our club has grown, and we hope it keeps growing. And I just want to say thank you, my friend, for having me on.
Yeah.
And Franz, can't wait to see you next Wednesday.
Looking forward to it. My gosh.
Anytime you have anything you want to say or announce, you're welcome on this show. Do that. And thank you for, I'm going to tell this final little story. Back when Augie started the club, and they would have 5 or 6 people at the meetings. And one of them was Norm Sloan when he was there. And every year when the new coach came, Augie would say, do you want to keep this going? They say, yeah. So Augie had this club going with Norm Sloan, who was just relatively new back to Florida. And he came in the store one day when Augie wasn't there in the grinder store. And Bill Davis, who, God bless him, is a great guy. He's a Knoll. That's okay. He's not hip with it. And so Norm Sloan, who's been known to have a bit of an ego, came in the store and said, is Augie here? And Bill said, no, he's not. Can I help you? He says, well, I'm Norm Sloan. And Bill said, and who are you with?
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh,
I like
boy.
that.
I love Bill for that story. I tease him all the time. Hey, thanks, Drew. Appreciate it, brother.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Good job. Looking forward to it. All right. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Francis, that's good news, everybody, that Coach Golden is embracing all that. You've been going to these meetings for a number of years. You knew Augie well, and you know what a heart he had for basketball. And it's not just Augie. That's one of the many things it shows you. And together with the efforts of people that we mentioned, including Bill Coster, your friend, and of course Randy Briggs and Mike as well, done a great job. So things are good are happening, and you must be getting excited about your book.
Well, I am, and I'm the thing that makes it exciting is the fact that we're, the game changes, the teams change, the games change, but it's still the same. It's the Gators, and that's always been the thing for me. I wrote about this a few months ago that I used to love the Baltimore Orioles. I loved them, and then Brooks Robinson retired. Frank Robinson got traded. Jim Palmer retired. I like the Yankees, and Mickey retired. Roger got traded to the Cardinals. Whitey quit. Yogi, on and on. But with the pros, that stuff goes on. But University of Florida is always there, same place, whatever, like that. And it's always been the same thing. And the Gators remain the same. And we know that every 4 years that guys move on, and it just carries on. And Gator basketball has become, Dick Tomlinson scored 44 points my first game I ever got to see the Gators play. And the second game I ever got to see the Gators play, Dick Tomlinson saw me waiting in line. And because I ran up to him, hero worship, I'm 12 years old, and it's hero worship. Dick Tomlinson walks me through the gate and gets me in free. I mean, my hero, the second game I ever saw. So I had enough money to go back the next night to see the Gators play. The Gators played Manhattan, then they played Air Force. And so, that kind of got it all started. And basketball, there's been a love affair with Florida basketball ever since.
You had a fistful of Christmas money standing in line, and Dick Collins says, "Come with me, son." Walks you right in. That's a great story. Well, the book's coming out soon. We'll keep you informed about that. It's going to be good. I can tell you firsthand, it's going to be really good. And you're going to want to get a copy, and we're going to have some deals. So stay tuned to find out how to get one. Friends, let's switch to football. Today,
Yes.
They announced the SEC is going to a 9-game schedule in 26.
Yes.
Florida has to pick 3 permanent teams. There's nothing about who they will be. I could not be LSU and Georgia and Tennessee. If we had a fourth choice, it would probably be Auburn. But anyway, that will have to be. They're money games. Let's be honest. That will dictate it too. So, what do you think about that? And is that 3 suit you? And tell me.
Well, the biggest thing, buddy, is no matter who the 3 permanent opponents are, the way this with this format, every single team in the league, you're going to see them home and away at least once every 4 years. That's ideal. You can't get it better than that in a 16-team league for the fans. Everybody is going to see. Texas will be here. Georgia will be. I don't know how they're going to work out. Jacksonville. It may be the end of the game in Jacksonville. They may have to do that because it's just that 9-game schedule. Adding that extra game means that there are going to be years when Georgia in Jacksonville is going to mean that you only get maybe 3 SEC games at home. So. I don't know what it's going to do to Georgia and Jacksonville, but trust me, they'll play Georgia every year. Now, I'd love to see it home. As much as I love Jacksonville and the tradition of Jacksonville, I'd love to see Georgia have to come here and play in the swamp. The one time I remember them playing in the swamp, that was a wonderful, wonderful night. I'll never forget that. So, but I think that this is the best way to deal with a 16-team league. And more importantly, it's the best way for the fans. It's probably going to eliminate a paycheck game for a D1AA team. But if everybody is there, this also could usher in an era when we start seeing the spring game be against a D1AA team, which I think would be a great thing to do. Anyway, I would really love that to happen.
I would too. I just don't see it happening. It's too obvious, and they'll find some reason they don't want to get their players injured in the spring against a deal. I don't, But I've liked that idea from day one. I agree with you, but anyway, it is what it is. We can't control everything about it. Let's just say that I'm glad they're in the league. The SEC is expanding, growing, getting bigger. Obviously, I hope we can retain as much tradition as we possibly can. We're going to lose some of those games. We're going to lose tradition. I'm hoping, and I heard Feinbaum today say that'll never happen. They do not drop the conference game, because the model that the Big Ten I think does, in fact, I think it's at the 4-4-2, whatever it is. It eliminates conference championships. Well, to me, one of the best games of the year, bowl or otherwise, is the SEC championship game. Yeah, why would you want to eliminate that just because it didn't fit you?
Why would you want to eliminate a game that brings much revenue into the
visibility
SEC
and everything else? So just to wrap that part up, let's just say that it's going to be what it is. It's going so far. I heard a little bit of Sankey's talk today about it, but I get so sick and tired of talking about policy. Let's talk ball. I mean, really, the interesting thing about today was we had Urban Meyer on the show this morning. He has interesting things to say, not the least of which he felt like Florida's team had depth it hasn't had. He said he's hearing from people he knows that the competition is much tougher in practice, which is what you need, he said, to get better at what you do. And the other thing that was interesting is that we talked about what all this stuff is about, claiming championships. What's all we're saying about 9 of them so far because of this whole thing with Texas and Ohio State, with the cheating scandal and the forfeitures and what have you. And Urban says, well, I'm getting on the act too. He says, I'm going to claim Utah's 2004 undefeated season, and then we can talk about other seasons like Steve Spurrier says he's going to claim 1990. And Todd, other people, Scott Carter said, well, go ahead and get that 1984 SC National Championship with the New York Times while you're at it, right?
Yeah, so you got it. I wrote about that. And it is time to, if everybody's going to recognize this, it's not. This isn't like something like the Billingsley report or some of these things that that used to come out and award national championship. I mean, 1941 Alabama goes 9-2, finishes 20th in the AP poll. Yet somebody gave them a national championship, and goodness, how ridiculous can you get?
Don Cole or Billingsley or one of those. There's a bunch of them,
This one actually has a trophy that went with it. I don't know, and it's and let's face it, everybody knows who the New York Times is. I don't know who Mr. Billingsley was, or maybe it was Mrs. Billingsley, and for all I know. Could have been some 8th grader, who started this. I know when I was 14 years old and in a class in Macomb, Mississippi, that I particularly loathed. I'm sitting there and doing my own weekly AP poll, my top 20 teams in the AP. And sending out a schedule to all my friends, to pick the games. and stuff like that. You know, I was not. I was about as credible as Mr. Billingsley, I think. You know, but remember we used to get this little paper called Kickoff or something like that, and it had stuff, and we had we had Leonard's losers and stuff. But they didn't have a trophy. This has a trophy in the New York Times. Everybody knows who the New York Times was.
By the way,
even though you used to kick their butts when you were with the Daily News.
Yeah. By the way, what's the date today?
August 21st.
Okay, that would be Franz's birthday.
Yeah,
Happy birthday to you. I can't sing it. I got to pay a royalty.
The big seven.
I remember that birthday. It's a good one. Congratulations and happy birthday to you, my friend. And may you have 74 more just like him.
I don't want
74.
You do,
because you're going to keep up with me, and I'll still be going. So,
I right now, the goal is to make it for the next 364 days. You know, and I mean, if I can make it another 364 days, I'll be.
Well, Larry Gross just said 74 big ones, AU, Auburn over LSU. By the way, Dan Bond wants to know, does that mean the playoffs will expand also? What do you think about that?
Well, the Big Ten is talking about expanding. I think Sankey's got the right idea about this, and I think Sankey will prevail because he's got the votes from some other conferences, which is, why are we talking expansion when we've only had 1 year of 12, and that 1 year of 12 was really good? I thought last year was the most fun year of the playoffs in a long time, because you had those games at home. What I'd really like to see is I think you penalize being a top 4 seed. Yeah, you get the first round bye, but then your fans have to go to a neutral site. Meanwhile, if you're seeded 5, 6, 7, and 8, you get a home game. And I think that's got to change. I think that, I know everybody wants to talk about the bowl games and stuff like this, but if you're going to do this thing, make it right for everybody. And I think everybody who is a higher seeded team should have a home game.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. Let me I won't forget the fact that Urban, he was on, and we celebrated the idea that the Hall of Fame, NFF Hall of Fame, good people are going to recognize him on the weekend Tennessee game. He'll get a plaque, which will be brought here, Hall of Fame, on the campus to remain here forever. So congratulations.
And he gets in the Ring of Honor.
Not yet.
He needs to.
That's not yet. That's not. That moves in that direction, but that's not going to happen yet. So, and also,
it needs.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And there's going to be some people who are going to give us static about it and whatever. But the fact is, he's going to get in. Even Mike Bianchi wrote a column today saying it's not if he gets in, it's when he gets in. By the way, just so you know, got to remember Billy Donovan is also going to be honored. And
Hall of Fame.
And Long Island University game, he's going to be there. He's going to be there, and they're going to do something special with him. So all these now legends and Hall of Fame, whatever, it's all coming to fruition. So it's interesting stuff there.
It's cool that it's going to be Billy's going to be there for Long Island, because Billy grew up on Long Island.
He's from Providence, actually, where he's from.
Well, he grew up on Long Island, played high school ball there, and went to Providence and played. And his dad,
I know him well. He's a great guy. Great.
Yes, he is, and he was one of the all-time greats at Boston College.
For sure. All right, before we bring Troupe on, I want to be sure and tell folks about our sponsors, at the least of which is Meldon Law. Had a pleasure of having Jeffrey on last night and talking about his trip. His new name is Marco Polo.
he had quite an amazing trip, which we talked about some last night. And he's excited to come back. And now he said 5 weeks was long enough for him. I think his trip was 17. He and Patricia went through all kind of continents and stuff. He's back. He's excited to be back because he loves football and basketball, and he's going to be sponsoring this special event on the week of the Merrimack game, where the first 10,000 people who come there get a ring, a replica championship ring for basketball. So it's going to be a neat thing.
Yeah.
And so, again, I have to remind Jeffrey, don't forget you are the law firm we talk about. And he mentioned last night they've gone from 13 to 50 people. And now they go down as far as South Florida. His daughter's joined the firm, so Meldon Law is expanding, doing well. And Jeffrey is about as loyal as they come to being Gators. The only official law firm of the University of Florida is Meldon Law. Meldon Law, they want
something that
down.
I love. You know something I love about Jeffrey is he has sponsored this thing, the Student Athlete of the Week, for years and years
Scholar
and
athlete.
years. The Scholar Athlete of the Week, and for high school kids. And people don't realize how much the kids in the Channel 20 community
benefit. Yeah.
Look forward to oh my gosh, Jeffrey Meldon, gives out this award, and it's a big to kids. Trust me, that's a big award. Ben Troupe, I guarantee you, if he had a chance to be honored on TV when he was 16, 17 years old, it would have been you would have been the stud of Swainsboro if that had happened.
He was anyway. Didn't matter.
I wish. Isn't that how Buddy and Friends? Isn't that how you guys met Miles Graham? Right? He got honored, right?
Yes, he did. I was actually there. They had the anniversary party, and I was there and had a brief speaking part with Coach Spurrier and others. And it was quite an event held in the stadium, and Miles Graham won it that year for the Scholar Athlete of the Award. And such a sharp young man, I tell you, it really was. You're right. Good evening to you, Ben. How you doing?
I'm good. Happy birthday, Franz. Hey.
Thank you. Is that a new hat?
It's the same one. I'm just, my Braves aren't looking like a real baseball team this year, and I blame it all on Buddy.
Oh, I have nothing. I have nothing to say. I'm thoroughly disgusted with the Rays right now. So the kicking games are like crazy lately. So I can hardly watch it. But hey, Ben, you heard about the new 9-game conference schedule, which is coming up next year. I'm sure. Don't know if you have any thoughts. And Francis and I were talking earlier. It's going to bring about some change, maybe some of the unwanted changes. And hopefully not going to do anything to threaten the Florida-Georgia game weekend. What have you heard about it? What do you think?
I knew it was coming. I knew it was going to come sooner rather than later. With so much pressure coming from outside the SEC that 8 games just wasn't enough. Bigger than the 9 games is now you got to, quote, have a formidable out-of-conference opponent, as if to say Florida's already doing it. You got certain teams in the SEC already doing it. But Greg Sankey, I give him this much credit. He's a very poised individual. He understands that, listen, we're going to do it. We're not going to be bullied to do it. But everybody's always watching the SEC, right? Everybody's trying to say why they can't do 9 when we're doing 9. Well, 9 SEC games is 8 is a gauntlet. 9 is like, so, and once again, if strength of schedule is not going to come into play, I think it gives SEC teams a disadvantage because nobody's going to have that much competition week in and week out, and you add another game to it. I am never going to make excuses for an SEC conference that everybody wished they was a part of and wish they was, as good as. Shout out to Michigan and Ohio State the last 2 years. But I knew the 9 games was coming, and 9 games in the SEC means 18 regular season games in the National Football League. It's going to be here sooner than you know it as well.
Yeah, it's about to catch.
You know what it does? The biggest thing it does, though, by adding that ninth game, it's going to ESPN is going to renegotiate that contract this coming year. That's well known, and every single team in the SEC is going to get a bump because that extra money that's coming in from that extra week is going to be significant. Every team is probably going to get a bump of somewhere between $7 and $10 million in their final outlay that comes from the conference. And that's these days and times, you get an extra 10 million, you got to take it. So that's going to be the biggest thing about it is what it does for when they renegotiate that contract, which will be, I think, 2026. They're going to have to renegotiate because the old contract is based on an 8 game. So this will have to be, and it's going to bump the SEC up. SEC schools will probably be making about $80 million to $90 million.
Well, guys, here's the thing. Ball season's here. We got a game coming up real quick. We don't have to talk about policies and schedules and NIL news. We can talk football. Spot the ball, let's go. And I feel like this team is ready, but I also don't know what everybody else is doing. And we'll see what that is all about. But it seems to me, it feels like, and I said the other day, I kept looking for the right word on Monday night. And Franz, you were there at the press conference. There was something different about Billy that people noticed. I couldn't come up with the right word. I thought, well, is it confidence? No, it's not really confidence. It's confidence, but it's something else. And the word I found, was poise. He was poised, which tells me he knows what he's got. He's confident he can get this thing done. And so I think it's a little different. Billy Napier this year. It's a team with really out any serious flaws or weakness, and a much better team in each room than you would think. And they really have some terrific rooms, not the least of which we've talked about the offensive line. We've talked about the quarterbacks, talked about the linebackers, we talked about whatever. They are very much stronger. And now Urban Meyer said today what he heard is that the level of competition is so much better in practice, going one-on-one than what it has been. So when you practice, you got some strong opposition. And Ben, you have to have that if you want to get better.
Well, that's where the games are won and lost. I mean, sometimes when you first get to college, and you don't understand why they practicing as hard as they do, why they going as hard as they do, and then you get to the games and you see why. The goal of practice is to put you in every possible situation known to man. That way, you're not going to be able to assimilate every single situation in practice, but you're trying to put you in the worst possible situations. That way, when you get to the game, either I've seen it before or I've heard it before. If the first time I'm experiencing something is on Saturday afternoon, that's not when you want it. I mean, like I said, my nephew is in college right now. He's always asking me, how do I do this? How do I do that? I said, man, you got to work on being a great teammate before you become a great player. Yeah, you got to want to be a great team. So I think for a guy like Billy Napier, when you see, quote, the best teams in the country, they all got one thing in common. They got their guys. When I got my guys, now I can really see what type of team I have. If I don't have my guys, I'm hoping that these plays work. I'm gonna keep when you don't got the best talent, you got to be a great coach. But when you got the best talent, you just got to be an efficient one. I mean, nobody really knows how good of a coach Coach Day is, or Coach Kirby Smart is, or Dabo Sweeney is. What we do know is they got their guys. And when you got your guys, it just makes life easier. And for a guy like Billy Napier, he ain't gonna say it out loud because he's he's very professional when he's behind the microphones. But behind closed doors, old Mama Napier, he's telling her, I'm so sick of people thinking that we mediocre, which not saying not this group, but Inky Johnson, who big admirer of his, the guy that went to Tennessee that got one arm, he said something in Florida that I agree with. He said, you can't be mediocre at this level. You can't. And I think for Billy Napier, yes, he's going to still be calling the plays. I get it. We're going to have to deal with that. But I want to see how Florida's going to look now that he finally got the QB, you got the O-line, you got the running backs, you got the tight ends, you got the receivers, you got the D-line, you got the linebackers. And for those people saying Cormani McClain looks different, he's bought in. People grow. Everybody want to look back on what he was in Colorado. I believe because he's back in Florida where he's from. I think I was secondary. I think it's going to be nasty good. Spot the ball. Let's see what happens. LIU, listen, they're coming a long way.
Yeah.
Let's get going. Let's get going.
Yeah. Yeah. We talk about this, Loren, good evening to you. We talk about this all the time about iron sharpens iron and what have you. And having that another level of competition practice means an awful lot. And I think this team now is close. I can't prove it because I don't get to see them practice. I don't see the other teams practice. I just go by instinct, reading, watching video, and trying to estimate best I can as to what's what. I know, Loren, we talked about this all summer. I love the quote from Billy when he said, no more my bad. It's time to play football now, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that speaks to the accountability of what this team has become. But buddy, I think you talk about it and you pinpoint people and call them out. But I look at conversations that I've had with members of the staff, a guy like Mike Peterson, who is a Florida great, played 14 years in the NFL, has been around a lot of great football players. And the way that he talks about not only his group, but the team as a whole and what they've become and the way that they're working, the offseason that they had. You talk to other staffers, and it's just different in the building. So I would say, without seeing practice and different things like that, just talking to the people that are around these guys on a consistent basis every day and the growth that they've had. You and I both know Billy Napier is not somebody that's going to give you something just because. So when you talk about guys like Cormani McClain, you talk about the young guy, Vernell Brown III, Billy is not going to say something that is not there. He comes from the Saban tree. He ain't giving nobody nothing. So the fact that he steps to the podium and tells you the strides that these young men have made, particularly a guy like Cormani McClain, forget the weight room. But just like Ben said, learning to be a good teammate, learning to be accountable, handling his business, taking his briefcase to work, if you know what I mean, and treating it as such. I think you see that. And when you got a guy like Cormani buying in, then guys like Tyreek Sapp, Cameron James, Aaron Childs, Miles Grant. If Cormani's in, the other guys are in. So just talking to people, understanding, what this team has gone through, the ups and downs, and let's give them credit. Billy gets a lot of credit, but you and I both know teams can fold on you. And that trip to Austin, they could have all got together and said, you know what? We need a new football coach. But they didn't. They said, we rocking with Coach Napier. We're going to turn this thing around. And, friends, they were probably playing as good a football as anybody in the country those last 4 games. So
they were much improved. So, and you hit the nail on the head. Both you and Ben both hit something. You with Billy's comment about the no more my bad. Guys that say my bad, it's just it's like that's not taking responsibility. That's not taking responsibility. Ben talking about be the best teammate you can be. People don't realize that's how great teams begin, because you get a guy, you mentioned earlier, Loren, about Tyreek Sapp and these others and Cormani, and saying, well, if Cormani's in, trust me, Cormani's looking up and saying, if they're in, I need to be in. And when football is a game, as Ben can tell you from showing up here as a freshman, as a lowly freshman, and there is the great Steve Spurrier with his dynamite offenses and loaded up team with all these guys that are going to be in the NFL someday. And you come there and the guys at the top who showed the guys below them, Ben comes in there and the 5th-year guys are treating Ben like this is how it's going to be done. The guys that above him, this is how we did it last year, etc. And it rubs off on a team. And this is the idea. This is what I love about the fact that this is more of a homegrown team than any team in the SEC.
Loren,
right
you
now.
mentioned teammates. It's a Spurrier quote, and it's something that he and I talked about, even writing a book about. And that is, he says, not everybody can be a great player, but anybody can be a great teammate. And you think of it that way, being a great teammate is really important. And you mentioned that. And I think they're learning how to do that. And that's like balling out when you don't get the ball. Maybe it's not your day to be your turn, but you're supporting your fellow players and you're there for them. I think that's extremely important. I also want to read you something I read about what Arch Manning said. I thought he said his grandfather talked to him. I don't know why this is not related, but he says his grandfather tells him every day, get down or get out of bounds. And Archie would know because he got the crap out of him.
Yeah.
I mean, not bad advice, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's about especially at that position, man. It's about self-preservation. But as a guy that made his living, and even I agree because and Ben, this, but I was a 5'7" buck 65 possession receiver. So we used to have a term called find the manhole. So I'd run that dig route, get the first down, and that was kind of it. We got the sticks. I'm gonna find that manhole and get down. So sometimes this game is physical enough. Don't do anything you don't need to do. Don't be a hero. Because a lot of times, and Ben, and you can be carrying that ball and you try to get that little extra yard and things like that. And that's when bad things can happen. So I think that's great advice. And you're talking about, the best ability is availability. And yeah, I mean, I think, if Arch is trying to be a hero and not, saying, okay, that's enough, let me go on the slide or get on out of bounds and live to fight another day. He scrambles on first down and, 2nd and 4 ain't a bad play calling down for Steve Sarkisian. So, no need to be a hero, that kind of thing. But back to what you were saying, buddy, about just being a good teammate. I mean, I think that's something that as we age and now we're in a position to look back, I think all of us could say, and we've all talked about it, you, buddy, friends, Ben, myself, is what do the guys that played with you think about you now? What do they say about Loren Meadows, Ben Troupe, Franz Beard, Buddy Martin, years later after the ball's been put up, we all hung our jerseys up. And I think all of them to a T would say we were great teammates and we still, keep in touch with guys. We're still there for them. And those are the things, like Franz said, those are the bonds that when you're in that foxhole and it's late in the game and you're at LSU and it's hot and we gotta press one more time. We got to get one more stop. We got to get one more first down. We look at each other. They don't huddle anymore, but we look at each other as we get in our signals and we say, this is the moment. And when you're a good teammate, you can lean on that guy to make that play. I don't have to be worried about me getting mine because I know Dallas Wilson's gonna get it if Eugene Wilson III ain't available, or J. Michael Sturdivant, or Jaden Bod knows that if he's not in the game and it's 3rd and 1 and we got to put it away, Jacoby Jackson is fully capable. But it's because we spent those times talking about those times, leaning on one another when times get tight, so we know we're ready.
Yeah, Ben, part of being a good teammate is also knowing your limitations. And knowing that to be a good teammate, you're going to be on the field. And if you get hurt every other play and you have to limp off, that's not being a good teammate. You got to take care of your body, don't you?
You do have to take care of your body. And I think the thing about it is becoming a great teammate means, but I got to put myself, last on my list. I mean, something that I tell my kids all the time. I tell, my young men in my nonprofit, it always starts with, man, make a list of 10 things. Put your name at the top. So they'll write the list, put their name at the top, give me 9 things that you're trying to do. And they'll write the 9. Then at the end, I'll say, I take that list and flip it. You're supposed to be last on the list. Them first 9, 2 through 10 was really supposed to be 1 through 9. You're supposed to be 10 because when you're a great teammate, man, you got to put yourself last because the world going to say, put me first. Put yourself last. So when I'm 21 years old and I got an 18-year-old freshman by the name of Chris Leak, and Ron Zook said, take care of him. He knows you can't take care of him and take care of you. You can't look out for this 18-year-old and worry about you. I think great teammates, they really, really don't care about stats. They just really, really good. Because they going, man, I played with Jabbar Gaffney and Riche Caldwell and Taylor Jacobs. That was our Ike, Riedel, and Jaquez, right? And they chasing different legacies. But in 2000 and 2001, when we in the Orange Bowl and a lot of those guys going pro, what people forget was they was cheering like crazy for us on the sideline. They know they played their last game, and you just remember that stuff. You remember, you know, if I get a chance to talk to Jabbo, man, he said, boy, I was watching you in the league. That's Jabbar Gaffney saying that to me. I'm like, well, that's Jabbo. Right? Alex Brown and Kenyatta Walker. And you'll never, ever get too old. You'll never, ever make enough money to not care about the affirmation of your teammates. If people say, I don't care about that, you're a liar. But buddy, you talked about the awards you won. And it's not that you won it, it's who was in the category. Like, they gave it over me, over him. Yes, and he was there to see you get your award. Franz, listen, if Franz ever seen anybody play football in his lifetime, he can tell you where he saw you at, what you was wearing, and what your favorite color is, and what your favorite food is, because Franz is a historian. It's something about being recognized by your colleagues. Today in my email, I got the 25th anniversary of the 2000 SEC championship game. Now, did I play in that game? Absolutely not. Am I in the picture? Yep. I made sure I was in the picture. I was in the picture. But what's so crazy about that? Someone says you won Coach Spurrier's last SEC championship. They put it in perspective, like, yeah, man, that's my freshman year. And for me, that's Coach Spurrier showed his greatness. Say, listen, I'm not gonna go out. You know, I'm not gonna go out without a bang. Won the SEC, and like I say, it was a bad day. If 9/11 does not happen, I get to win a national championship with Coach Spurrier in 2001. I don't see nobody beating us. Just ask Maryland what we did in the Orange Bowl. So I'm just saying, it's I hope these players realize this. As much as you want your stats and you want your exposure and you want to get drafted, them guys you play next to, man, you're gonna love them to death because. And Loren, I know you can speak to this. As great of a player as you get to become, it was players way better than you. I'm talking about. I said this dude over here, and you the one they had to show to my former team. I mean, to my former teammates, man. I hope them boys understand how much I appreciated showing them the way by what I did. I ain't finna get all up in nobody's face. Man, dude, I ain't do all that. Listen, watch what I do. I hope to God I'm doing it right. I hope to God I'm not leading you astray. Cause like I said, when Kermani McClain got that pick last year, look at that sideline, man. Like, look at how them dudes was going. And that game was over by then. You know, it was over. But I just hope that for a guy like Billy Napier, he gets to know what it feels like to have players that love him. Because when your players love you, oh man, they do all. Because the goal of a coach is to get you to do something you don't want to do. I love Ron Zook now, but when I had him, Lord have mercy, that dude. But he brought out the best in me, man. So I hope them guys understand. You in the SEC, you at Florida, you know, and DJ Lagway. I want to know where the hell my earphones at, man. I'm gonna keep DMing. I want my earphones, man. You know what I'm saying?
Do you know what
we got about a minute, Franz, for each person, and you make your comment and tell me the 3 permanent teams that you want to keep. We got a couple of calls from people who are old timers like Lynn Tyndall. All right, I got music coming from somewhere. I don't know where it is.
Here's the thing I was going to say. All you had to do was look at when Bennett Anderson scored a basket in the SEC championship game in basketball. Here's Bennett Anderson, a walk-on. And if you got to see how his teammates erupted on that bench, seeing a walk-on who everybody loved, the best teammate was this walk-on. And everybody showed their appreciation. That happens right. For 3 permanent opponents.
Yeah, real quick. Got to do it real quick.
I want to see Georgia. I want to see Tennessee, and I want to see Auburn.
All right, Loren, go ahead. Permanent opponents.
I don't know.
Hang on. Sorry. You go ahead, Bam. I'll be waiting.
Oh man, I don't think. Yeah, I agree with Fran. Georgia, Tennessee, and Auburn. To me, I would take them. To the end of time. Sorry, Kentucky, y'all not real, and but I'll take Georgia, Auburn, Tennessee.
All right, sounds good. All right, Loren, you can hear me?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you before I didn't know who that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Whitney Houston.
Permanent opponents. I don't know where it's coming from.
It's not in this house, but anyway, permanent opponents. Obviously, the Bulldogs. Definitely like to see the Auburn Tigers, and just something about Tennessee Vols. So I would say those three. Those three.
Yeah. All right, I think we found the source of it. I know, so we're gonna turn it off. All right, folks. Thanks for
the lady playing it is just as lovely as Whitney. So tell her play on.
All right, thank you, brothers. Appreciate it. All right,
sir. Happy birthday, friends. Shout out,
friends.
Yes,
thank
sir.
you.
All right,
enjoy,
all right, guys. We're gonna say good night to everybody, and we're gonna say we're gonna go out without a song. I hope, and we'll tell you about our sponsors. We told you about the Meldon Law earlier, and now I want to tell you about Titan MRI. Titan MRI and Imaging. They are located in North Central Florida to help give you a better opportunity to take care of your health. Right now, they accept insurance, or you can go through their convenient self-pay options program. They offer MRIs, CAT scans, X-rays, and ultrasounds. Easy scheduling with lots of options, including evenings. They have the larger MRI machines for patient comfort. If you're one of those guys or women that go in and have your MRI to get on those skinny tubes and go, oh my gosh, I can't take this. Well, they're there to make sure you don't have to go through that claustrophobia. No ERs, no hospitals. They're coming soon to Ocala to better serve Marion County, the surrounding area. They are located, of course, in North Central Florida. Several locations there in Gainesville to serve you in the Millennium Center, and two in Park Avenue location. Also in Lake City, serving all of Columbia County and Valdosta. Titan MRI Imaging will absolutely take care of your needs. Again, thanks for listening, and thanks for following the program. Happy birthday to our buddy Franz, and thanks for all you people for checking in tonight. It was good to hear from Lynn Tyndall. I hadn't been the ages since he checked in, and a lot of you folks talking about Auburn, how much you wish they could. That's not going to happen. I wish it would, but it's just not going to. It's one of those things. I don't know. Again, we're going to lose something this new 3-game permanent. I know it's going to be the 3 teams. It's got to be LSU. It's got to be Georgia. It's got to be Tennessee. Those are all big games and all money games. So we always want to schedule them. So anyway, that's what's going on there. Again, thanks to our sponsors tonight, the Meldon Law and Titan MRI and Imaging. To our guests, Drew Ditty. Thank you. It's going to be a good program next Wednesday night in Ocala with Drew Ditty and Coach Golden. Also Franz Beard, and to Loren Meadows and Ben Troupe. Good show. I'll do it for tonight, and have a great weekend. Football season is upon us. It's happening. It's happening. It's going to be a great, great time for this thing to happen. And I hope you have a good night. Take care.